Hello everyone, welcome to History and Culture. On the 29th day of the first month in the 40th year of the Qianlong reign. A typical snowy day. The imperial palace was filled with tension and chaos. Inside the Yanxi palace, cries echoed through the air. As several princes and princesses kneeled to the ground, weeping uncontrollably. Even the elderly Qianlong emperor, with his head full of white hair, could not hold back his tears. On that day, the Empress Dowager, who had been suffering from a severe illness, bedridden for nearly 2 years. Voyages, the Imperial noble Consort Ling, finally succumbed to her illness and passed away. Her death brought immense sorrow not only to her husband, Emperor Qianlong, and their children, but also sent shockwaves throughout the entire imperial harem. After her passing, the harem was faced with a serious issue. The Empress Dowager, who had been the real power behind the harem for nearly a decade, suddenly passed away, leaving all the concubines without guidance, and creating a power vacuum in the palace. What was unexpected, however, was that Emperor Qianlong made no immediate response to this situation. According to relevant historians, the real ruler of Emperor Qianlong's harem, though seemingly glamorous and powerful, held a position that was far from easy. It was a position fraught with complicated affairs and heavy responsibilities. And it also carried great risks. Before the imperial noble Consort Ling took charge of the harem, 2 previous holders of the position had lost it for various reasons, with one even paying the ultimate price. The first was Qianlong's first wife, Fu Cha, the Empress Xiaoxian. She and Qianlong Emperor were childhood sweethearts, and they had shared many years together. She was gentle and humble. During her reign, Empress Xiaoxian implemented a policy of frugality and order in the palace, and the harem was managed smoothly. Emperor Qianlong was very pleased with her, calling her a virtuous partner. However, life is unpredictable. In the 13th year of Qianlong's reign, possibly due to the overwhelming pressure of managing the large harem, or the grief from the loss of 2 sons who died young, Empress Xiaoxian suddenly passed away at the age of just 36, becoming the first empress to die from illness while holding the position of the ruler of the harem. Although her death came too early, compared to her successors, Empress Xiaoxian was undoubtedly luckier. At least, after her death, Emperor Qianlong gave her very high praise and great honor. She possessed beauty and was thoroughly virtuous. In recalling the Empress's noble character, only I know it most deeply. According to the standard of historical memorials, it can be said that she was truly both virtuous and filial. Her virtue and filial piety were truly perfect, and my words do not overstate her beauty. The second ruler of the harem was Qianlong's Empress consort, Ulanara. Her fate was completely different from Empress Xiaoxian's, and it was a tragedy. She lived under the shadow of the former Empress Xiaoxian, constantly worried about making a mistake. And Emperor Qianlong's favor for her was very limited. What was even more shocking was that during Qianlong's southern inspection tour in the 30th year of his reign, the already neglected Empress Ulanara suddenly began to behave erratically, even publicly cutting her hair in front of the emperor. In Manchu custom, a woman cutting her hair usually has 2 meanings, one is for the death of the nation, the other for the death of her husband. In any case, Empress Ulanara's actions were undoubtedly a grave offense against Emperor Qianlong, a blatant curse. Emperor Qianlong was furious, placed her under house arrest in the palace, and they never interacted again. Even when Empress Ulanara passed away, Emperor Qianlong remained cold and indifferent, even reducing the scale of her funeral, demonstrating his disdain for her. After Empress Ulanara was sent to the cold palace, Qianlong's favored concubine, who became the 3rd ruler of the imperial harem, Consort Ling, finally ascended to this cursed position, beginning her 10-year-long reign over the harem. However, after the death of Empress Ulanara, Emperor Qianlong hesitated to bestow the title of Empress upon Consort Ling. Instead, he made her the imperial noble consort and allowed her to oversee the affairs of the harem. It is worth mentioning that, although Consort Ling enjoyed the emperor's favor and had children, she was never made empress. Some historians suggest the primary reason for this was that she was Han Chinese. In the Manchu Empire, the title of empress was traditionally reserved for Manchu nobility, and a Han woman as empress was simply intolerable. Consort Ling was well aware of this reason. So during her more than 10 years in the harem, she was always cautious and discreet. She maintained a friendly and pleasant demeanor at all times, never allowing any sign of arrogance to show, and even treated the lower-ranking concubines and maids with humility. She knew very well that any misstep could anger the Manchu noble concubines, and this could threaten her position in the harem. Living under such pressure for so long took a toll on Consort Ling both physically and mentally. Her health deteriorated, burdened by both the immense strain and the frequent childbirths in her earlier years. Starting from the 38th year of Qianlong's reign, Consort Ling began suffering from frequent illnesses and spent long periods bedridden. Despite this, Qianlong's affection for her did not diminish. During her prolonged illness, her son, the 15th Prince Yongyan, was secretly named heir apparent. He would later become Emperor Jiaqing, which further solidified Consort Ling's position in the harem. However, all the love and glory did not change her fate. Years of illness eventually took Consort Ling's life, and her death sent ripples through the once peaceful harem. After Consort Ling's passing, both the concubines in the harem and the officials in the court generally believed that Emperor Qianlong would soon select a new successor to take her place. After all, with such a vast imperial harem, there needed to be a legitimate high-ranking consort to manage it. However, what surprised everyone was that the elderly Emperor Qianlong did not respond for a long time. As time passed, the civil and military officials, as well as the concubines, became increasingly anxious, urging Qianlong to make a decision quickly. After all, the harem could not be without a master for even a single day, and the order in the palace needed someone to maintain it. Yet, it seemed that Emperor Qianlong was indifferent to all of this. As an elderly ruler, losing his beloved wife, who had been by his side for over 10 years, clearly brought him a great deal of emotional distress. However, according to the moral principles of feudal tradition, as the ruler and symbol of the state, a monarch should not let personal feelings affect their decisions. Whether for the sake of maintaining order in the harem, or to balance the court officials, who were intricately connected to the imperial consorts, Emperor Qianlong should have made a decision quickly, and selected a new head of the harem. Otherwise, prolonged inaction could lead to further suspicions and unrest. Therefore, Emperor Qianlong deeply cherished his feelings for Empress Dowager Ling, and his prolonged hesitation in re-establishing a consort as the Empress undoubtedly touched the sensitive nerves of the Manchu officials. Beginning in the 41st year of Qianlong's reign, many officials wrote letters of advice, urging the emperor to select a new empress. Petition after petition appeared on Qianlong's desk without ceasing. By the 43rd year of his reign, an official named Jin Songshan not only petitioned the emperor to reinstate an empress but also requested that he issue a self-reproach edict to abolish the Empress Ulanara. Some rumors suggested that Empress Ulanara was deposed because she had opposed Qianlong's wish to take a courtesan as a concubine, which angered the emperor, leading to her deposing. Emperor Qianlong became enraged by this matter and immediately responded, "I am 68 years old, how could I consider remarrying and re-establishing the empress? Moreover, among the current concubines, there is no one who is capable of taking on this role. If I were to select an empress, the Manchu officials in the court and the Mongol Zasecs, princes, are all my grandchildren, and their daughters are still very young. How could they be worthy of standing by my side to enjoy the honor and respect? This is simply laughable, and there is nothing more to discuss. From this point on, Emperor Qianlong clearly explained why he had delayed re-establishing an empress. First, at his advanced age of 68, it would indeed be inappropriate to marry and establish a new empress. Second, many of the high-ranking concubines who had accompanied him for years had already passed away. And most of the remaining consorts were young, lacking both affection and sufficient prestige. Lastly, even if he wanted to choose a new empress, most of the women available were of the same generation as his grandchildren. And they were simply not worthy to stand beside him, which made it even more inappropriate. According to historical scholars, while it is possible that Emperor Qianlong did not re-establish an empress due to personal reasons, such as his nostalgia for Empress Ling, the more significant reason likely lay in the need to preserve imperial dignity and ensure the stability of the imperial harem and the court. After all, in feudal dynasties, the royal family has no personal emotions. A ruler could not possess true love. In contrast, we, living in the modern era of equality, are fortunate to be able to freely pursue love and happiness. This is the History and Culture channel. Liking and subscribing are the greatest help and support to us. Thank you everyone and see you in the next time.